kung mag-i-invest ka sa Singapore, sa currency exchange pa lang, panalo ka na eh. If there's an opportunity to park your cash elsewhere, where the value of your cash grows, then it only makes sense to park it there. Yung perang yun, pinapadala na sa Pinas, and then they let their spouses manage it. You know, they forget to prepare for their future, for their retirement. Isip pag tayo nag-gym kasi, di ba, masakit eh. Nakakapagod.
Right.
But the rewards later, it's good. You know, it's good.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same with finance. Gusto ko nang bumili ng bagong mugs ng kotse ko. Pero I have to abstain. You know, because I want to save, you know, I want to invest that money to reward myself in the future. By the numbers, he's set to retire with 150,000 pesos per month passively.
Wow.
From 6 years old. And I realized na...
Hey workaholics, thank you so much for joining me in this episode. Kiko here, Kiko Mabilog. You're listening to Workaholic, a podcast that helps professionals escape burnout and experience growth in their careers so that you can hustle without the hurry. Today is a very special episode because I'm not alone, so I'm not talking to myself, so I don't sound crazy. But also very special because I have with me today a guest who's joining us all the way from Singapore. And
Hello.
yeah, and so I'm sure we're gonna have a really good conversation. Basically, just gonna jump straight into it. Everyone, just give a very warm welcome to Rico. Rico, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, what's up, Patrick? Thanks for having me here in your podcast. You know, the Workaholics. It's gonna be a very interesting conversation between us because you know, I've listened to some of your episodes on your podcast, and you know, the things that you talk about are, you know, really inspiring and motivational. You know, especially to business owners and self-employed, service-oriented people like us. And of course, I hope that, you know, we bring value to our listeners here.
For sure. Yeah, so I guess just jumping straight into it. Alam ko sikat ka na. Marami ka ng fans, di ba? But for the very few people who are listening to Workaholic right now, listening to this podcast, who might not know who Rico is, kind of give us a quick spiel. Who is Rico? What do you do? Why do you do it?
Okay. Well, I'm Rico. You can find me on my socials, Rico Desengaño. And what I do is I help people, especially OFWs, go back home for good in the Philippines with financial strength. So my designation here in Singapore is I'm an executive wealth manager, right? So an executive wealth manager is, yeah, as the word says, you know, we manage wealth, our clients' wealth. We help them grow their money, you know, through the financial markets, of course. You name it, stocks, ETFs, unit trust funds, bonds, and all other financial facilities that are available here in Singapore.
Nice. And I'm really curious about your story about how you got into wealth. We'll talk about wealth management specifically in a little bit and how that's different from the normal financial advisors na alam mostly ng mga Pinoy. But before that, can you kind of share with, you know, the workaholic community how you got into this career? Like what drove you into becoming an executive wealth manager?
Oh man, this is gonna be a decade worth of story.
Yeah.
But to put it into perspective, let's start from, you know, when I first came here to Singapore. You see, you know, as you all know, I'm a Filiporian. Filiporian is a word that we use for Filipinos in Singapore who grew up here. You know, so I grew up here in Singapore and I moved here in 2004. And it's about 21 years ago. I think I was 13 years old. That was long, you know, 13 years old. And then, you know, of course, I experienced studying in the Philippines. You know, I left Philippines. I was first year high school pa lang ako. Then eventually I moved here to Singapore. Then my parents brought me here. You know, my dad is an OFW. He's an engineer, while my mom is a teacher. Okay, so OFWs bringing their children here in Singapore. And back then, it was really easy to become a permanent resident. So it was pretty smooth for us. And then, long story short, I did my studies here. Nag-college ako. I got kicked out of college. And then I went to NS, which is our national service here in Singapore, yung nag-army. And then after that, I continued my studies again. And then I went to the corporate world. In fact, my first job, okay, after I graduated from college was I sold compression tights and running shoes. Okay. And then that's where I acquired some skills, like that's where my people skills came from. You're talking to different people, bagong graduate, and eventually I became a regional brand manager of one of the, pwede ko bang sabihin yung brand dito?
Sure. Yeah, baka
Yeah.
mag-sponsor
So,
pa.
yes. I was a regional brand manager of Versace. Versace, Versace
Wow.
on the floor, right? So,
Yun.
yung perfumery yun, so perfumes.
Gotcha.
And then
Yeah.
we were the distributor here, okay? And then what I did was I sold B2B, I did B2B business with representing our distribution. And then, I closed like big malls here in Singapore. I closed the big malls, department stores, Takashimaya Paragon, the popular ones.
Mhm.
And then along the way, I realized that yung mga nako-close ko, yung numbers is, my boss is basically making a lot of money, bro. My boss was making a lot of money. And then what I was being paid with is yung salary ko back then. Of course, junior, although yung designation brand manager, but still junior, bata pa. I was 24 ata ako noon, 24, 23, I think 23. So, ngayon, that's where I started thinking, hey, yung boss ko kumita. Ang laki ng kita niya, he's the business owner. Whereas kaming mga nandito sa employee, ito lang salary, right? So I was like, wow, this is quite unfair, umiinit yung ulo ko. I went through some sort of depressive state kasi it's just, why is the world so unfair? Why is my boss making a lot of money? So just right, my parents had they had an insurance agent from one of the, the big companies here in Singapore, insurance company. And then he spoke to me, and then he recruited me into, being an insurance agent. It was good, right? It was good. I learned a lot of things about finance, how important insurance is in protection. And then after about 3 years plus, I realized something na naman, I realized something again. I was like, hey, I'm selling this, the products of this particular insurance company to my clients, right? And how do I know na itong insurance company na re-represent ko, that they're the ones who provide the best solutions in the market in terms of insurance, right? Insurance. And so that's when I started to talk to other insurance agents from other company. Hey, let's compare. I want to see your insurance policy. How different is it from mine? For the, yung parehong type of insurance policy, right? Let's say VUL or whole life. So we compared, and then I realized that different companies actually have different pros and cons. My company, my ex-insurance company had pros in one aspect of financial planning, whereas the other, my pros din sila on another aspect that my company is lacking, yung aspect na yun. Then, so I was like, yo, so paano ngayon yung clients ko, the things that I'm recommending to them were, ito lang company na to. And I felt that I cannot call myself a financial advisor if I cannot provide other, solutions, right? So COVID happened, and COVID, so nag-slow down yung business because you cannot meet people, right? Circuit breaker, lockdown, walang meeting and everything. So I slowed down on my meetings on selling insurance. During COVID, dito sa Singapore, for some reason, many people have become fit, they started exercising. Yeah.
Tama,
They
yeah. I
yeah.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, they started running and they started, basically, ang daming tumatakbo, ang daming sa cycle. So I was like, hey, wait a minute. Parang may demand fitness. So you know what I did, bro? I spoke
Mm.
to my a fellow boxer. By the way, I do boxing as well. I competed in the amateur games in Singapore. And I spoke to him, hey, bro, there's a potential business here. How do we get them, instead of running, why don't we get them to box? And we teach them how to do boxing. So what we did was we rented a one-room studio dun sa financial center
Mm.
dito sa Singapore, at around Marina Bay. And in that place, just across is yung mga doshe na bank, nandun yung DBS, nandun yung HSBC, yung mga bankers. So basically expats, yung mga expats nandun. So we rented the studio, and then we furnished it with fitness materials like punching bag, nandun yung mga pads, nandun yung weights and everything. And then we kinover namin siya nung yung alam mo yung takip ng itlog, lagay ng itlog para soundproof.
Yeah. Egg trays, yeah.
Yeah. Oo. And then back then we had a rule here na you can only have one visitor at a time.
Mm.
So paano kami makakapag-class niyan? So we decided to do personal training. So bisita lang, and then to-train namin
Right.
sila. We printed flyers, boxing here and there at this level. Then nilagay namin sa mga ilalim ng pinto nung mga condo, di ba? So it's a condominium yung place. Man, we started receiving like so many calls. Oh, I'm interested, and we started charging them $90 per hour. And then
Wow.
per day we have about like 8 to 10 sessions. Talagang fully booked, parang
Wow.
hindi circuit breaker. Yeah. And then now, after that, when the world was back and the lockdown was over, the business kind of died down kasi everybody's back to work, and then they're not as enthusiastic when it comes to working out anymore. That's when I started to look back again about my career. Wait, should I go back to being an insurance agent? I'm sure I can do better things. And then one of my colleagues from the same insurance company called me. He's like, "Hey, Rico, this colleague of mine, he's kind of like my partner in this in my district, in our firm. We do things together now." And he told me, "Rico, I remember you were telling me, you were complaining about not being able to provide other company solution. Itong company lang na to yung nabibigay mo, itong insurance company nito." So he told me, "Hey man, why don't we, come and join me?" So apparently, lumipat na siya, nag-upgrade na siya ng license, lahat-lahat. Lumipat na siya sa independent financial advisory firm, as a wealth manager na din. So I was like, really? Okay. So I asked him, "Bro, so how different is this from being an insurance agent?" Sabi niya, "Well, firstly, you are able to provide different insurance companies to your clients. So basically, you can tailor make the solutions for them, because everybody has different needs, diba? Insurance lang yan, insurance. And then, of course, in order to become a wealth manager, you need more license. Kasi to be an insurance agent, you
Right.
need licensing, diba?
Mm-hmm.
To do other things, to do the things or the solutions that a wealth manager can provide, you need a few more licenses. Yeah. So that's where the investments come in. You see, that's where the investments, being licensed to advise when it comes to the financial markets, like yung mga index, yan, S&P 500, MSCI, you name it, yung mga ganyan. You need license to advise that dito sa Singapore. Hindi ka pwedeng basta-basta magturo if wala kang license dito, or else you can get reprimanded. So I upgraded my license, and then I started working there. I started working there as a wealth manager. And now, the next problem is, paano yung mga clients ko na naiwan dun sa insurance company? Diba? So I started calling them again. Then, hey guys, I've left that insurance company. I've moved as this, and these are the new things that I can provide. I can do collective investment schemes, unit trusts, that stuff. And then I can also help you save more money sa insurance, because I can find you the same coverage sa insurance, but for a lower premium, you know. And then apart from that, we we optimize it, and then para yung natipid nyo, you can then set it aside for your retirement or for creating passive income. So ayun yung istorya. 4 years later, 4.5 years later, here I am. I serve about, I think, 1,000 accounts na, about 1,000
Wow.
clients, including families na yun, families. So insurance ng baby, etc. I have a list, and it's growing. Yes, it's growing. And then even better now, also I manage my own team na din. So I have like a few
Nice.
guys under me as well. Yeah, so it's a mixture of my dalawang Filipino, and then my isang Malay, and then we do collaborative stuff. We sponsor basketball events in Singapore, yung mga Pinoy basketball events, concerts, and mga bands, and all other projects that we have to better serve our clients, and then make an impact. Kasi OFW naman ang target namin, and the main problem of an OFW, diba, is basically money, right? Money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, that's all. That's all. That's all. That's all it
Panalo.
is right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I really love your story, man. I mean, it's sometimes people hear stories like that and it sounds like pang teleserye yan, but like one thing that kind of jumps out to me is it definitely wasn't easy, having to move
It's
to a
not.
new
It's not.
country. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then like everything from your corporate background to uh becoming financial, independent financial advisor, and then having to adapt during the pandemic. Yeah, but
Mm.
I think if there's one word that really describes your story, it's really resilience. And that
Oh
actually
yes.
two words, if I can just throw another one in, is adaptability. You adapted to
Mm.
uh, the time, the challenge. You rose to the occasion, and I think that in itself is a is an it's an inspiration already. I want to ask you a question because I mean, there on the flip side, of course, I understand like the shift to becoming a financial advisor, or like generally speaking, in now being an executive wealth manager, from your corporate background, you wanted more freedom, both financially and time wise.
Mm.
Kasi alam natin yung corporate, you have to be in the office 8 hours is
Yeah.
not enough. And I'm sure that I've heard stories, man. Singapore, an 8-hour day, that's a luxury.
They're lying. It's not even 8 hours, man. It's not
Yeah,
8 hours. Trust
it's
me,
not eight
man.
hours.
And it's not
Yeah,
even
so
paid.
tama, yeah. So the freedom side I get, but why financial markets? Why investing? Why do you want to get in? Why did you want to get into that industry?
Why did I get into that industry? Actually, hindi ko naman siya. It's not something that I really wanted to be. You
Okay.
know, I'm the type of person who goes with the flow.
Mm.
And so an opportunity for me to, kasi it goes back to being paid according to your efforts, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then back then, corporate world, no matter how good I sell the perfumes, the sports shoes, I get paid my salary. Diba? So I needed to find a way na I get paid based on my efforts. And sakto, kinausap ako ng insurance agent nila mama, ng parents ko. And he told me, hey Rico, you know what? If you sell this much, here's the numbers. Because I've been always numbers oriented. Here's the numbers. Ito yung commission. You sell X number in a month, you make this amount of money. If you want to make more, then meet more people and then sell more insurance. Ganun yung ano sa akin. So I was like, oh, that makes sense. Kesa naman sa mag-MLM ako. I mean, nothing wrong with MLM. My parents do MLM. It is the same. The more you do effort, the more money you make. diba?
Right.
So with that thought itself, yeah, it made me want to. It brought me to that insurance agency, and
Mm.
then during that insurance agency, nagdevelop yung ano ko, nagdevelop yung affinity ko when it comes to money. Right?
Yeah.
I became more, I would say, knowledgeable sa pagpapalago, pagpo-protect, pag-manage, ganyan.
Mm.
And then being a wealth manager, I would say na I don't think I would even become one if my friend hadn't called me up. You
Mm.
know, I would probably just stick to the same insurance company and do the same thing, and then not really feel bad. Yeah, I would feel bad because I'm selling things that I don't even believe in. You see, like yung mga
Mm.
VUL, you make a lot of commissions from that. But I myself didn't take that because I know the numbers, right?
Mm.
So I will be stuck in a place where I'm selling products that I don't even believe in, right? And I don't want to be there. So to answer your question, how did I get there? Well, I guess development, right? Personal development, and
Right.
then it brought me to who I am right now. Yeah, to where
Yeah.
I am right now.
So the shift from being a financial advisor to wealth planner. So essentially, what you're saying is the difference is the options, right?
Yeah.
As an executive wealth manager, you can give clients more options.
Yes.
And it's to my understanding, of course, and of course the reason why we met was essentially workaholics. Just a quick like background context.
Mm.
I'm gonna be working with Rico basically because, well, I'm in the Philippines. For most of you who follow already, but one thing that I found out is kahit nasa Pilipinas ka, you can access the markets in Singapore, and that was just such a mind blowing
Mm.
realization for me because all I knew as because I've been investing for so many years. I started investing back in 2017, and the yields have been uh alam mo yun? And like, there were good times, but like generally speaking, investing in the Philippines has been very underwhelming. And so now having the opportunity to invest abroad is it's it just widens the horizon for me personally. I'm sure that for the people who
Mm.
are listening to this who are Filipinos as well, who want to be able to access markets like Singapore, one of the fastest growing markets. I'm sure that that's a big realization. You want to quick, just 2 minute spiel. You're allowed to be a salesman right now. Can you
Mm.
kind of like give us a bit more information about uh, that kind of like service that you provide and why people should start investing in Singapore through an executive wealth manager like yourself?
Okay, firstly, currency exchange.
Mm.
10 years ago, one SGD, one Singapore dollar is equal to 32 pesos.
Right.
Fast forward 10 years, 2025, one Singapore dollars is 42 pesos. This can be
That's
found
just crazy.
online. So basically, without even
Crazy.
investing, okay, I won't even sell investing. I won't even
Mm.
sell any financial solution. Simply by parking your money here in Singapore, you make 30% in a span of 10 years,
Wow.
right? So you basically make money simply by changing your peso to SGD, diba?
Tama.
And then where does a wealth manager come in to increase yung ano mo, your returns?
Mm-hmm.
Kasi you see people invest in gold, people invest in real estate, and the reason why they're investing is they want to increase the value of their cash, diba? So
Tama.
now if you were to, let's say, invest that money in a depreciating asset, I mean, in depreciating index, let's say, I mean, sorry to say, but Philippine index, right?
Yeah.
If you search
Yeah.
it online, the index is, it's going down by 11%, negative 11% the past 5 years ata, collectively. Yeah,
Yep.
11%. And then whereas kung mag-invest ka sa Singapore, sa currency exchange pa lang, panalo ka na eh, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if there's an opportunity to park your cash elsewhere, where the money of where the value of your cash grows, then it only makes sense to park it there, here, or there. And another thing, di ba? Kung let's say ang growth is 30%, di ba? If in 2015 meron kang 1 million, nilagay mo sa Singapore, simply by the currency exchange, yung 1 million mo is $1,300,000 ng pesos na ngayon. Diba? Simply by parking it here or changing the exchange rate. And now, ilagay mo pa yung investment sa financial market. Okay, let's be conservative, bro. Let's be conservative. Let's talk about say bonds. 4% returns.
Right.
Low risk. 4%. O i-add mo yung currency exchange.
I know.
Now if you've got time, if you're about our age, 30s to 50s, that would be fine. Ilagay mo sa equity markets. Magkano returns roughly? S&P 500, let's say, index. Ang returns nun siguro mga 12% per annum collectively in a span of 10 years. So, ngayon, with that itself is, you're what you're creating here if you invest is the leverage.
Yep.
Instead of keeping your money in the bank, how much interest do they give you, diba? It's really, really, it
Very
doesn't
true.
make sense. May inflation pa,
Tama.
Yeah.
I mean, prices are not going down. Costs, expenses are not going down. I want to make a very important point here, workaholics, no? For those listening to this podcast. Here's the reality that we face. Most, if not all of us, we're always boxed in the four corners of what we know. What do I mean by that? Ako personally, bro, I grew up in the province kasi. And when you grow up in the province, like, you don't really explore when you're growing up. And so normally, your elders will tell you, ito yung alam natin. This is, the environment you're in. And so these are your options. And that applies in career planning. Ito lang yung magiging career mo sa huli kasi ito lang yung mga schools na available. So you either become a seafarer or you become a doctor, a lawyer, alam mo yon. So you're only boxed in the four corners.
Filipino
Nurse, exactly. and even when you're thinking globally, meaning gusto mong magtrabaho sa ibang bansa, you're very limited in the kinds of careers that you can come into kasi ito lang yung pwede. Ito lang kasi yung in demand. Alam mo yon? And I think in some way or another, in the same way with investing, it's the same thing. Because for the very few, even like the small fraction of Filipinos that do invest or that do prepare for, financially for the future, for retirement, we only know a few options. We only know investing in, sabi mo nga, VUL, in insurance. Siguro, kung talagang savvy ka, then you can invest in the stock market through Call Financial, or mutual funds, kung ayaw mong mag-handle ng pera. But even in that, your options are always limited. But the reason why I share that is because I think that, just like when I met you and listening to the options that are available to Filipinos, that sabi ko nga sa'yo grabe dapat tinuturo sa school to pero hindi tinuturo because
kahit dito, bro, hindi tinuturo sa school yan.
I know, and we feel like we don't have options. And when there's, sabi nga, 'di ba, yung cliche, the world is your oyster. Narinig natin yan.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we just don't know how big the world is and like the options that are available to us. So what should we do? We should, by all means, go outside of the four corners. Meaning, let's not just put ourselves in the box and say, ito lang kasi yung alam ko. Ito lang kasi yung investment na sabi nila, okay. Now, of course, I'm not saying na mag-invest ka into anything and just put your money wherever. Of course, that's also being financially irresponsible. And alam naman natin that there are scams and, people who are trying to take your money away. But what I'm saying is, keep an open mind. And that's it really goes back to this idea of expanding your horizons. And I mean, like your story, diba? Like when you saw this industry, I mean, you didn't shoot it down and say, hindi ko alam yan kasi dito lang ako. I mean, I've been a brand manager for so long. I've been in the corporate for so long. But you took that leap. And that's hard because, diba, from salary to, yes, maliit, pero at least every so often you see na may pumapasok sa bank mo to all of a
Alam mo ba kung
sudden,
magkano yung una kong salary sa nung nag-move ako from corporate to insurance agent, alam mo kung magkano una kong salary,
magkano?
bro? $200, bro. And I had 2 kids. Man,
Oh man,
I had 2 kids. Buti
that's
si
crazy.
Mrs. She's working back then. Nurse siya.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
$200, paano kami kumain? Hindi ko rin alam kung paano kami kumain noong time na nun. But I
Grabe.
felt that it was, I mean, similar din yan if you're gonna start a business, di ba? When you
Right.
got a business, you gotta be ready for it.
Yeah.
No? But luckily, at least meron ako emergency fund, back then. And I tracked my finances. I managed my finances pretty well. So at least I could still live for like, 8 months without salary at least. Diba?
Mabihira yung 200. Yeah, but
Oh.
I completely get that. I mean, well, as you know, like Ces and I, my wife says, we started the business. And when we started our business as well, well, we were employed before, pero yung employment din kasi namin was not very high paying. So I guess we had like that advantage of knowing very little. So we actually, when we started working, I mean, when we started as a couple, we were joint. We were only earning 20,000 a month pesos.
Oof.
Yeah,
Ano
one
ginagawa?
daughter.
What was your work, man? What was your work?
I worked in church ministry, so that's why I was paid very little.
Well, I mean, it's nice. Okay, that's nice. Okay, that's nice.
It's I mean, in
Very,
some way or
very nice.
another, it's meaningful. But I think at that level also, and we're still pretty involved in church and all of that.
Yeah.
But now we have the business, and now we can also help churches as well. So we're able to support financially. We're still also volunteering and helping other churches. We travel to help other churches. But I'm looking back, parang sabi ko, grabe din yung trial by fire from a financial perspective. And I think the hardship really helped to like form yung resilience, adaptability.
Yes.
Diba?
It gives you that it gives you the okay, so meron akong binasa before, like I'm into philosophy. Okay, like Plato, Socrates, yan. And then merong Christian na church father, old school, early Christian back in the, I think about 1100s pa to, or 900 AD. Alimutan ko na kung sino. But he's a philosopher. Sabi niya, ano ba yun? Pain, suffering begets goodness, something like that.
Yeah,
which brought me to the thought na, you see, pag tayo nag-gym kasi, di ba, masakit nakakapagod.
Right.
But the rewards later is good, it's good.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same with finance. Kasi nakakatamad naman talaga mag-ipon, bro, di ba? Gusto ko nang bumili ng bagong mugs ng kotse ko, pero I have to abstain, because I want to save, I want to invest that money to reward myself in the future. Pain, and then later on, comfort, right?
True. 100%. Yeah, I get that. I mean, you cannot. I think about this from a parenting perspective, no. Like ngayon kasi that we have a good life. I mean, I grew up with not poor, but very low middle class level. So I know how to make 20 pesos fit for an entire day. Kayang-kaya ko yun. But then I look at my kids and I tell them, oh, I'm gonna give you 100 pesos. You can go to the mall. And then like 20 minutes later, they're back and said, I need another 100 pesos. I'm like, wow, okay. So, but I mean, I see that from a parenting perspective, where even like with our eldest daughter now, we're also trying to, yes, we want to provide a good life for our kids, right? But you also want to train them to make a do with what is available to them. Teaching them not just to get resources, but really to also build resourcefulness. I think kasi that's, in some way or another, the only way that you can really learn resourcefulness is to kind of also have that limit to the resources available to you. And like what you said, suffering, I think in some way or another, like if I were to define suffering, it's essentially making things that are normally easier for some more difficult for you, right?
No, yes, yes, yes.
Diba? I mean,
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's if we were all suffering, we wouldn't feel the suffering as much. Pero when you see your neighbor, like, oh, grabe, yung mags niya bago, di ba? Going to the mags na example you were saying. Pero ako, ilang taon na, ganun pa rin. Dami ng gasgas. So it increases suffering. And so you actually have two options. You can either have a heart of envy and say na gusto ko rin yan. And then you make means and ways for you to get it through credit, borrowing money. Alam mo yon?
Oh no.
Or yeah, I mean but the truth of the matter is, especially now, no,
people do that.
People do that. Yeah, especially with social media now, they will happily get into debt just to keep up with the Joneses.
Just to flex.
Exactly.
Just to flex.
And
normal, bro.
And what we're trying to do there is we're trying to bring down the suffering. Diba? And that loss of suffering, I think, in some way or another, can also bite us in the back really hard later on, whether it's through piles of debt or realizing that all of the things that you bought weren't actually making you happy. You just thought it would because mukhang masaya naman yung kapitbahay mo or yung friend mo na nag-travel. Pero
wait, you know what? I suddenly remembered one of the Chinkitan's video.
Which one?
He was talking about delayed gratification. Yeah, and I kalimutan ko na kung saang podcast yun, but I saw him say that. And then sabi niya about delayed gratification daw. He was saying exactly what you're saying na, sometimes kasi he was saying na, tayo mga Pilipino kasi we are emotional people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then have you heard of this saying na okay lang, wala akong pera, masaya naman ako?
Yes, I see that all the time. Yeah.
You will hear that a lot. Okay lang, masaya naman ako ngayon. Basta masaya ako, okay na ako. But deep inside, in their hearts, they aspire to be better. But I feel na they use the so-called masaya naman ako as a plaster, like a crutch, to justify the inability to help themselves grow. And I feel that in order to grow, right, you must purposely, delayed gratification talaga. Don't try to feel good or feel happy ng ganun lang, like ng mabilisan. Don't aspire it to come to you fast. Because if you suffer today, like my video ko nakita, by the way, the kid, there was this experiment where there are different children, and then what they do is, hey, here's a candy here on the table. You can take it. Isa lang yan. Just one candy. You can take it. You can eat it now. But if you don't, you'll get 5 more candies later. And then there are kids who ate the candy na, and there are also kids who waited, and then abstained from taking that candy, and then eventually got the 5 more candies. Self-growth or personal growth, and so as money, is like that. It's like that. Business, you have to suffer first. It's like that. When you leave your corporate job, you suffer first, and eventually it'll be good.
Yep.
You see?
Yeah.
And basically, life is like that, right? Life is like that, man. Life is like that.
Very true. Yeah.
Life is like that.
An interesting thing about that study, did you also know that they actually followed the lives of those kids, like into adulthood? Yeah. And they saw like which ones of them actually became successful. And most, not all, but most of the kids that waited for the 5 other candies became more successful in their careers also. And they also actually had better relationships. They got into better marriages. Yeah, it's just a testament to just how powerful self-control is, delayed gratification nga eh. Because you see the bigger picture eh. You see what you keep your eyes on the prize, diba? And I think that's really important. Most of the time kasi, like when I talk to, kasi I have a coaching program, no, where I really help people to get clarity in terms of what they want, and then experience true freedom in life. Like one of the works that I do with my coaching clients is I really try to dig down deep into what they want, what they really want out of life, like help them to paint like a vision for what they want their life to look like 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, and then make it super clear so that they have like a very strong reason to keep pushing forward. Because when things get hard, there are only two things that will motivate you. And I actually have a podcast about this. Well, I'll probably put it in the show notes. One is intrinsic motivation, which is the motivation that you get because you love what you do, even if it's hard or not. And I say this all the time, that I believe that that's the true definition of passion. It's not doing something because you like the perks. You do it because you like the pain. Diba? Mahirap lahat ng trabaho, lahat ng industry, lahat ng business, everything, there's always gonna be pain. But if you like something enough, and you're saying, I'm willing to go through the pain because I enjoy the work, that's the first thing. That's number one, intrinsic motivation. Last and secondly is extrinsic motivation, which is yung end goal. And if you don't have a clear end goal, if you're not clear about where you want to be, what you want to get, what level you want to get at, you're just going to have a hard time pushing forward. And when life gets hard, which spoiler alert, it always will, no,
it will definitely will.
That's
it definitely will. Thing about life.
Yeah, it's
every hardship is an opportunity to get better.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with that. But many times people don't see that because yun nga eh, because we don't have a clear like vision of where we want to end up. And I talk to people about this all the time, the importance of expanding your horizons. Going back to that idea of exiting the four corners, diba? When you move to Singapore as a in high school, did it help you to expand like your understanding of what the world is? Do you think that played a factor?
Well, you know what? I always thought na kasi sa high school kasi back in the Philippines, slightly one of the popular kids, you see. And I thought na it'll be the same here. So when I moved to Singapore, it's a complete different world, complete different culture, and complete different everything. Okay? In a perspective of a teenager, you judge things based on what's cool, right? Kung anong cool sa mga Pilipino back then in the 90s. Back in the 90s, what's cool here is different. The kind of music they listen to, the way you speak. Sa Pinas, di ba, back then, if you speak eloquently with a nice accent, you're cool, di ba? You know what? Over here, if you come here and then you speak with such an accent, they'll be like, why are you speaking like that? That's very very pretentious. That's how they say, yung English nila. Why you speak like that? Why you speak like that? You're in Singapore, things like that, And so ayun yung struggle ko kasi besides that, the way I spoke was standard Filipino English. Standard Filipino English, a proper grammar and everything. That's one of the adjustments I had to make. I need to learn how to adapt and code switch. Like, depende sa kausap mo kasi iba-iba naman kasi yung level ng pagkatao. May ibang tao dito that they listen to like their, yung so-called TFC nila, True Filipino channel nila. They have their own in their own language. May iba naman dito that subscribes to more English or Western channels sa TV or media. So ayun yung pwede mong kausapin ng normal na na English, you know. And then
Yeah.
the education system dito, education culture. Dito talaga pahihirapan ka, bro. You know, they
Mm.
don't put a lot of emphasis in arts, music, or
Mm.
dancing. Pero sa atin, you know, kahit basura yung grades mo, when you can dance or you can sing, you can play basketball well, you will still move on, you know. Magaling
Yeah.
ka pa din. Dito hindi. Kahit anong galing mo, pag yung grades mo ang baba, mahina ka sa mathematics, mahina ka sa science, then that's it. Repeat. Ganun. Ganun dito.
Mm.
Yeah. Which I felt na to be able to adapt, diba? Kailangan iwan ko yung dati kong beliefs. Like yung sinasabi mo, yung four corners na yan.
Yeah.
I had to explore not just
Yep.
four corners. Lipat ako sa likod din, you know. Hindi lang
Mm.
2D, bro. I gotta go 3D on it. You know, I
Yeah.
gotta understand this kasi there's three different races dito. Malay, Chinese, Indian. I have to learn how each of them, you know, how they think, you know, how they see things, what is offensive to them, you know,
Mhm.
what is important to them, you know. Kung importante ba ang fame, importante dito, importante ba ang pera, ito, importante ba this and that, family, friends. You're gonna adapt, you know, you know, I think it applies to other countries, diba? But in my opinion, Singapore is a little harder because you have three different cultures here. And then that three different cultures makes it the Singapore culture. Kasi parang nagiging, you know, halo-halo na you know?
Yeah.
And then I think in a
Right.
few more years, right? In a few more years, dahil yung mga Pilipino dito na pinanganak, they're all growing up. And I have a feeling that eventually, you know, magiging parang prominent na din yung culture ng Filipino dito because there's so many Filipinos
Mm.
here, Filipinos. You know, exclude
Yeah.
mo pa yung mga expats, right? And these expats eventually they end up migrating here,
Mhm.
you know, then bringing their families here, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yung sinabi
Interesting.
mo, bro, about you said something about ano nga ba yun? You said something about being able to adapt, di ba?
Yeah.
Meron kang iba't ibang clients from different countries. So how do you adapt to their requirements and
Right.
all that? Like let's say me, I am from Singapore. You have someone from Australia and all
Mhm.
that. How do you do that?
I mean, for us, no, kasi like our business, we work with like people from all, not all, but like big span of time zones. So we've got clients in the US, we've got clients in the UK, we had a few clients in India, we had a few in Australia. So I mean, I think it's honestly like if I can really go deep into it, no, and simplify it, it's just really learning how to listen without judgment and like
Oof.
being like a sponge and saying I'm gonna set aside kasi normally kapag you find like a culture na hindi sang-ayon sa kultura mo, yung natural tendency natin is hindi ako ganun ganito kami.
Mm.
So you're already seeing it from like the lens of your culture
Mm.
versus like setting that aside and saying wait, I'll put this aside muna kasi yung kausap ko hindi ko kasing kultura, and really having a desire to listen and learn. Like, I guess for us as a family, and even the kids, I don't know if it's innate. I don't think it is, but we've just had this knack. Like kami, we like to travel, for example, and we don't travel for the pics, no? Like alam mo yon, yung parang nagti-TikTok ka, yung mga lahat
Mm.
ng trends. We don't even do that. We just want to go there. We want to experience the culture. Like we're traveling to Japan June. Go to Hong Kong. Ako personally, I've been to Hong Kong like 10 times because I just love immersing myself in the culture and really
Mm.
understanding what it's like to be a Hong Konger. And like we've got friends there now, both local and Filipinos who are also
Mm.
based there already. And we just like to listen. We want to learn. We want to understand. No, and I think that's a big portion of what has been lost, I think, now because we're so individualized and we're so caught up with what's your identity. Again, I think it's important to have like a culture for your identity's sake, no, but also understanding that your culture is not the only culture that exists in the world, and then also realizing that your culture is not superior in all aspects, in all ways. There are
I still have the Filipino pride.
Yes, Filipino pride for sure, man. I completely get that when people say, you know, you're a Filipino, and you get that. I get that. But it's also realizing that you can get the best of every, yung nga, like the markets, di ba? Hindi maganda yung market ng Philippines ngayon. That's just the reality that we face. I wish it wasn't
not just
true.
Ngayon, it's been more than 10 years. Talagang,
I know, yeah. It's you know, I mean, I wish that wasn't the case. I love the Philippines. I love the country. That's why I chose to stay.
Man. My kids love the Philippines, bro.
Yeah.
They're not even born there. They don't even speak the language. But they love it there. They love it there, man.
I know, yeah. But the thing is, you realize that tayong Pinoy, we're good at many things, but we're also not good in some things. And so we have to learn and listen from other cultures. We have to get what no, and I guess that really you know, I mean, like, because in my line of work as a digital marketing agency owner that serves multiple clients, that's been a big privilege, I think, for us, no, na we also get to see what's out there, no, and see what's available. And maganda ngayon, like post pandemic, and now that we've established ourselves a bit, we can fly out and meet our clients in Korea. We can fly out and meet our clients in Thailand, you know, and it just broadens your horizon. I'm such a
what do you think? What do you think is the bad thing about? What are the what do you feel are the worst habits ng mga Pilipino?
I think that in some way or another, it's syempre, I don't want to generalize, no, but I think if there's one habit that I would probably want to break from the like majority, is just thinking that we're how do I say it? Let me put it this way, no. Tayo kasi na Pinoy, we like to always glorify the situation we're in. Let me explain what that looks like. I talk about this all the time, like poverty mentality, for example. There's you know, poverty porn in the Philippines. It's like
poverty porn.
Yeah. It's like all of a sudden there's just this fixation on I'm poor, and the reason why people don't want to escape poverty is because we think that that's just who we are. We're supposed to be a poor nation. We're supposed to be a poor people. Yung great grandparents natin, grandparents natin, ganito. So kailangan ganito din tayo. And I think in some way or another that can also apply for the more affluent. Na like I hear this story all the time, especially with the younger generation now. Na parang you have a I was just talking to this agency owner, like even younger than us, but they're more so their business is doing like 10 times the revenue we're doing. Or not 10 times, but maybe 5 times. And I was listening to them, young guys, super talented, super creative, and they're taking on taking the world by storm. They're taking large corporation, big contracts. Pero yung COO nila had a hard time starting the business because the parents were telling him, "Huwag kang magnegosyante kasi doctors tayo." Diba?
Wow.
Diba?
Wow.
Nagigets mo. So we try to hold on so much to what we know. And I get it, no, kasi gusto natin ng security eh. Pinoy kasi we like security.
It's been working out for so long eh. So why switch, right?
Why risk it? I mean, your grandfather was a doctor. I'm a doctor. Your siblings are going to become doctors. Why do you want to be something else? Why do you want to start a video production company? Why do you want to make videos for a living? Why do you want to make ads for a living? And so I think that in some way or another, it's very, very common. Like I know for a fact that even Chinese parents can be the same way. At some level, I think it's more of an Asian thing than anything. No? But
I think it's like a bandwagon thing. You know, it's a bandwagon thing. Tayo mga Pilipino kasi we tend to like, you know, kung ano yung meron dito, okay, dyan na ako. Like, I'll give you an
Correct.
example, bro. Like, I have a client. I have this client. Like, this was 4 years ago when I just started as a independent, as a wealth management. This guy has a VUL. You know, yung VUL, as you all know, di ba, yung
Mm.
insurance slash investment na klase nung yung mga nire-release ng mga insurance company. So, apparently, I told him, I gave him the numbers. Hey, sir, ganito po kasi yan. You were told to stop paying on the 10th year. But actually, on the 10th year kasi, yung insurance cost ng VUL mo still needs to be paid. And it's being paid by your investment value, yung cash value mo.
Oh,
So,
gotcha. Okay.
now, yung pera mo ngayon, yung cash value mo, eventually, mag-run out yan. And then, you believe that this is gonna be your retirement fund. Now, let's say another 10 years later, your insurance cost keeps going up kasi tumatanda ka, di ba? 10 years later, yung cash value mo, basically, baka ubus na yan to even be your retirement fund, di ba? So I told him, sir, here's a solution for you. And I've done this with many clients, and here are I always show, di ba? I always show examples, live client accounts and case
Right.
studies. Ito yung case study, sir. Ganito yung nangyari. Now, this guy was like, okay na ako kasi dito na ako eh. I mean, my friends have the same one. And then, ito na eh, nandito na eh. You know, what can I do? Said,
Yeah.
okay, ako, hindi naman namimilit. So, 5 years later, which is now, just actually end last year, he called me up. He said, Rico, tama ka nga. Hindi na ako nagbayad. Yung value ko, kalahati na lang. So, sabi ko sa kanya, sir, it's okay. Okay lang yan. It's not too late. You're only 45 years old, all right? You still have 15 years to retirement at 60 years old. So, ganun din. O, yung pera dun sa VUL, we extracted it. Yung sa insurance component niya, ginawa namin ng yung basic lang na term insurance, which is, BTIR, we call it, buy term, invest the rest. So, kumuha siya ng term insurance, which is gonna cover him until like 70 years old. Na super mura kasi insurance eh. Just standard insurance.
Yep.
And then yung balance, yung natitirang cash value dun, ni-reallocate namin into, yung pure investment na, yung mga over-the-counter na unit trust, saka yung mga structured investments. So, it's a balance of both for diversification na rin, of course. And, ngayon, as of today, ayun, okay naman yung niya, investment. In spite of Trump's tariff.
Yeah.
Bagsak ng konti. And we do monthly. So, nagda-dollar cost averaging kami. So, he doesn't really feel it, And by the numbers, at age 60, he's set to retire with 150,000 pesos per month passively.
Wow.
From 60 years old, all the way to, when he expires, pag, kinuha na siya ni Lord, then the money, the capital in the fund will then be distributed amongst his children sa Pinas. This guy is still in Singapore until now. And I'm just waiting for him to tell me na, hey Rico, I think okay na ako dito sa passive income ko. Mag-fall for good na ako. I-activate natin. Just like my other clients, it's not 17 anymore. It's gonna be 18. Yun yung gusto ko. That's my success story. So I'm just waiting for these guys to eventually just tell me like, hey, I think it's time,
Yeah. I want to shift gears a little bit here, since you already touched the topic of retirement, no? Which is, I think the numbers, right? In the Philippines, I think it's like only not even 10% of Filipinos will retire with like financial comfort. What do you think is just in your own like personal experiences with your clients, people that you work with, what is the number one thing that is holding people back from retiring comfortably?
Feeling ko emotions talaga. Emotions.
Can you unpack that a little bit?
Yes. So, by emotions, ganito. Kanina pinag-uusapan natin is suffering begets goodness, di ba? So, by suffering, meaning like, say you're earning this much of, okay, let's talk about an OFW context. He's earning 5,000 SGD. Okay, 5,000 SGD is magkano ba yan?
About
That's
200,
about
200 plus
200k. Yeah,
pesos. Yeah.
200k pesos. Ngayon, a common mistake that Filipinos make is yung perang yun, pinapadala nila sa Pinas and then they let their spouses manage it. Tapos yung natitira dito is basically yung allowance lang nila. You know? So,
Right,
I
right.
mean, they do that because they love their family, right? Nothing wrong. It's good. It's good. And they love their family. You know, they want to provide the best for their family. They want the family to you know to benefit from that from the amount the leverage that they have here in Singapore. But ngayon, because of that emotion, right? You know, they cannot say no to their wives. They cannot you know, they cannot teach. I would say they cannot teach, but hindi nila ma-take na you know maglalak yung or they're sending less. You know, they forget to prepare for their future, for their retirement. You know, kasi in order to retire comfortably, you know, by retirement meaning I'm not talking about like nagre-relax ka lang or you're still working less. You know, I'm not talking about you're working less. But I'm talking about basically working because you want to, not because na kailangan mo. And in order to do that, as we all know, this might sound cliche, is creating passive income talaga. You can do that through yung rental income, which is you're doing already right now. My properties ka, you're getting rental money, that's passive income. Ako naman, sa financial markets ako, I get dividends, you know? So, in order to achieve this, there should be, you know, kailangan medyo robot ka when it comes to your money. Emotions, you have to, money and emotions, you cannot put them together, you know? They're complete opposite. Emotions make you, you know, make you spend more. Emotions make you, you know, like yung you know, gusto mo na yung gratification right now, you know. So Filipinos, right? Filipinos, I realize sa mga clients ko na most of the clients that I work with are Filipinos who are, I won't say walang emotions, but they're more numbers oriented, you know. And then they are more entrepreneurial in their mindset. Like I'll give you an example. Let's say OFW. Alam niyang may leverage siya dito. Ang balak niya talaga is mag-business sa Pinas eventually para makapag-for good na siya finally. So how do I come in that picture? So he tells me, Rico, this is gonna be my business expense sa Pinas. I want to offset that business expense. Can we do something about that? So that's when I start coming in, you know, sending proposals. Sir, okay, kailan mo ba gusto umuwi? 5 years from now. Okay, can you set aside 1K per month, 1,000 SGD per month? Okay, you can. Okay, do that for me for the next 5 years. I can give you roughly about, say, 50,000 pesos per month from Singapore to the Philippines. Yung mga ganun ba? So this particular client is the kind of person who, you know, forward thinking, you know, forward thinking. And then for me, I mean, which I feel that I need to improve on is I think I need to educate more sa mga Filipino because I'm the kind who like, okay, kung ayaw mo, then it's fine, you know. I don't want to push myself. I don't want to, it's your responsibility to do this. You don't want to do it, it's fine. You know, but I feel that actually my dad, my father told me this na actually you should, you know, tell them kasi it's like a you know, parang teacher, di ba? Hey, you're lacking on this. Mahina ka sa fraction. Mag-practice ka ng fraction, di ba? Hindi yung bahala ka dyan, you know.
Tough love.
But then, yeah, bro. But then again kasi, syempre, one challenge for me is lagi ako na pagkakamalang insurance agent. You know? Because magkamukha naman kami, di ba? MDRT din eh. No, may mga ganun, di ba? So, I just try my best to separate myself from that stigma. And kaya hindi ako masyado nagpo-push. And I feel that I'm still looking for an avenue to educate Filipinos dito sa Singapore. And also, of course, in the Philippines. Now that I can do business in the Philippines now, I'm a strong advocate of financial freedom talaga. Sounds cliche, But yes, financial freedom is the way talaga.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
the more
Right.
passive income you have, the more passive income you have, the better your life will be, the easier your life will be, and the more you will enjoy it, and the more time you will have for the things that really, really matter to you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because truth of the matter is, and this is my realization. Ako, pare, I realize I really don't want money. I don't
Oh,
want
same here.
money, 'di ba? I
I
want
hate money.
I hate money. Totoo,
I hate
I
money.
agree with you. I don't like money. But I realize that money is a tool for you to get
Mm,
the one thing that everyone wants, which is freedom.
freedom, yes, freedom talaga.
Yeah, it's and
Yeah.
I think Morgan Housel said something along the lines of in his book Psychology of Money. Freedom is essentially this, no. Uh Waking up tomorrow morning and deciding I can do whatever the hell I want because I know
Yeah.
for a fact that I have options. Freedom is just the ability to have options. Na yun nga sabi mo, and I think I'll kind of like also segue a little bit to the I think a year or two back I did an episode on retirement and it really exploded because yung take ko kasi doon, that was also the time that Manny Pacquiao was already announcing he's gonna retire. So parang na-timing
Mm.
ako doon. And I was talking about why Manny Pacquiao has a hard time retiring because he loves what he does. No, he's a
Yeah.
boxer. I mean, of course now he's a Congress
Mm.
or he's a politician, whatever, and all of the other things. But his like first love is boxing, and kaya siya nahihirapan to let it go. And I think like in the same way with myself, no, because I really love what I do for a living. Then I mean, I get to help
Mm.
businesses, brands. I love
Mm.
communicating stories through digital content and all of that. And that's something I would gladly do for free, and I would do it like whether like if you ask me tomorrow if when I wake up in the morning what's my day gonna look like, it's exactly what my day looked like today.
Mm.
However, I also come to realize that if alam mo yon parang on because truth of the matter is as I'll be honest, man, I love what I do for a living but not every single day. Alam mo yon,
Mm.
there are days where like I just don't want to make content. I don't want to, you know, I'm just not in. And of course, like when you get older, you'll have more of those times because you
Mm.
need time to you can't work till like 11 o'clock in the evening anymore,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and you have to take care of your health, and you also have to spend time with your family and your kids, and
yeah.
as early as now, and so you realize you still need options. You need to
Mm.
have choices. You need to have a choice, and that's what money can give you. It can give you
Mm.
options. It can give you the
Mm.
option, like if you're investing and you have passive income, and like a client comes to you and says, "Hey, I'll pay you like 1 million every year just to
Mm.
give me like this much amount of your time, but you're already at capacity with your current
Mm.
commitments." You can tell that person, "I'm fine because
Yeah.
I'm already happy with what I have,
Mm. Mm.
and I'm already earning from here." That's what you want to be able to get
Mm.
with money. So it goes back to freedom. So,
You know,
anyways, like one last question, I guess I wanna throw your way in terms of because you said no that your goal is really to help OFWs really go home for good,
mm.
and you nga live spend time on the things that really matter the most.
Mm.
What does Rico's executive wealth management career look like doing that? Like, what do you want to achieve in the next 10 years?
Mm. Yeah, so that's a really good question. Kasi may sinasabi ka kanina na it brought me towards realizing na everything we do as business people, like you, service oriented, myself, service oriented, you know, the reason why we're doing this is we have different motivations, right? For
Mm-hmm.
instance, some people will have a motivation of, freedom, options, right? But you know what? This is something that I realized a few years ago. Actually, yeah, before I during COVID, I realized this. Na I love seeing people achieve things that they like, that they want, or see people improve, and I like them to achieve that. I don't know how do I word it. Uh, you know, I like to be a part of someone's growth or someone's achievement
Gotcha.
or someone's development. As you
Right.
can see, yung business ko is teaching boxing, being a boxing coach. At some point, I got so immersed into it that I spent my days training my boxers. These are high school students. Train ko sila lagi, teaching them, like the technicalities of boxing, like, kailan ka ba papari, ka-counter ka, bigla kang uppercut, yung mga ganong bagay ba. And I realized na, when these people look at me, and then let's say nanalo sila sa competition nila, and then they're like, the way they look at me and the way they say, thank you, coach, it just gives me that, that good feeling, you know. And now bringing to wealth management, the motivation I have is the same as when I was teaching boxing. I feel so good when my clients tell me, Sir Rico, finally, yung mga investment ko, nasa positive na, or yung mga success stories. Thank you, sir. Nandito na ako sa Pinas, and I'm really happy na, that you have, that you've helped me set up this dividend paying fund. And now I'm receiving 50K, 60K per month passively, as long, yung mga ganon. And, I like the feeling of being part of someone's growth, you see. And how I see myself in the next 10 years, diba, is I think I would be doing the same thing. The career I have, right, what I do right now, is it's not tiring at all. It's not tiring at all. But of course, just like what you said, for every business, there are days that you just want to relax. Ayaw mong magtrabaho or what. I have those days, and I have the options to, hey, I'll do your proposal tomorrow. Today I want to rest. I have the option to do that. But all in all, doing this for my clients is something that I really love. I love it when they tell me, suddenly text me, thank you, sir, at finally, nakapag-switch na ako from this kind of portfolio to a more optimized portfolio. And being a part of someone's growth is really, heartwarming to me.
Right.
And I love it, man. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
In
It-
every aspect, right? I love
Yeah.
it too when, let's say, my children was to tell me, thank you, daddy, for working hard. Now I have this. No, I'll take that away. You gotta experience hardship first. Go and wash my car. I'll give you $10. Ganun siya, yung mga anak ko.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mga ganun.
I get that. That's really a testament to having a giver's mindset, bro.
Yeah.
There's always gonna be two kinds of people in the world: givers, takers. You're obviously a giver because you're driven by people's wins. You love seeing other people succeed with you, versus a taker would just be like, I don't care if you succeed or not. I just want to succeed, and it looks like
But when you give, you get more, bro.
exactly.
When you
Yeah.
give, you get more. You
Right.
really get more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get more.
Awesome. One quick last question that I ask normally my guests from time to time. Rico's week this week. What do you want to get done before? Well, it's Holy Week actually now. So sabihin natin, let's say by Friday. Sabihin natin. Let's just say, for example, it's not Holy Week. What do you want to get done by Friday that will make you look back and say this week was a good week?
Good. I want to finish all my administrative work. And no, because I'm flying to China, right, on Saturday.
Right.
So I've got a lot of admin work and proposals then, And then this week, apparently I only have one meeting. I try to, you see, option. I
Yeah.
set, like, I have one special client here who's a Filipino who owns a jewelry shop. So yeah, I'm gonna okay, let's meet her. See how we can help her. But this week will be successful, bro. To me, actually, bro. To be honest, you define your own success naman kasi talaga
Mm.
But to me, in order for me to tell myself that I'm to call myself successful at the end of the week is basically just finish my deliverables and go to China and focus on our meeting there, and then not think about, oh shit, oops, and not think, not think about, oh, I forgot to send this form for my client or that form, etc. Yeah, simple as that.
Yeah, simple, but isn't that always the case with service people? It's like always paperwork, paperwork, paperwork. I get
Yeah,
that.
paperwork.
Rico, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
I learned
Patrick.
a lot.
Thank you, workaholics.
Yes, workaholics, as always. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Hopefully, it added value to you, help you to experience growth and escape burnout. And Rico, this is definitely not the last. We'll have you at some point once again. And so, for those who want to check out Rico and like what he does, I'm gonna leave the links to his socials and his website as well in the show notes below. You can reach out to him if you want to learn more about tapping into like the financial markets, or if you just have questions about how you can really grow your finances. He's the guy that you should follow. If you're not following him yet, check him out. So once again, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time around. Bye.
Bye.